Hello and welcome to London, and I'm joined here today by Natalia Hunnick, who is Chief Revenue Officer at Advanced Markets and Fintech. Hi Natalia.
Hi Andrew.
Nice to see you.
Likewise.
Now here in London this week, a huge amount of professionals from all over the FX industry are joining the remainder of the leadership of the electronic trading world here in the financial capital of the world, and there's a lot of changes.
Indeed. So over the past 10 years, we've been observing the trend that the retail brokerages have been moved away from the primary sources of liquidity. That trend only accelerated in the recent years as very few people have access to the prime brokerage accounts at major banks.
Yes.
And so there's been a lot of newcomers to the industry. There's been a lot of liquidity recycling and new trends emerging in terms of where retail brokerages source their liquidity.
Absolutely. In fact, some of the non-bank market makers, we talked about this about 3 or 4 years ago, and you were right. Some of the non-bank market makers were able to fill that position that was kind of a void where the tier one banks were shying away from giving counterparty credit to OTC derivatives firms. And actually, what we talked about a while back was that they are more, although they don't offer the same quality as a bank, as a tier one bank, they're more geared towards our industry in terms of filling orders, and we've seen that now result in XTX markets being number one in terms of market share, global market share for the FX business.
Yes, absolutely. There's been a few hedge funds that have been actively participating in pricing advanced markets, for example. And you are right. There's some that are excelling at execution, and some they're not. In-house, we always do the validation and making sure that before we actually have clients taking that liquidity, we actually test everything internally. Indeed, there's few hedge funds that have been coming to the scene actively and grabbing majority market share. And I think the key is execution and execution time.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. This is what actually execution time is really important in this particular OTC world, because you know what it's like as being in the prime sector. There's only about 5 or 6 real prime in the world. As you say, not everybody is able to get access to a prime brokerage account with a tier one bank. They haven't got the balance sheet.
Right.
And even if they do have, the retail brokers, even some of the larger ones, I mean, there's some very big MT4 brokers around who simply just take a price feed and then don't use any bank execution anyway. So maybe we are in the age of the sort of non-bank market maker, and maybe some of these companies knew what they were doing when they bought the ECNs like Hotspot FX, and some of those larger 360T were bought by some of the exchange companies. Maybe they knew what they were doing and they knew which way it was going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more people, even from the retail space, are trying to get pricing from the non-bank liquidity providers. Unfortunately, most of them will not work with you on margins, so you still need someone to intermediate. And Advanced Markets, is happy to help with that. As you've mentioned, it's for some brokerages, even they are large enough and they have financial history and they have the balance sheet, they're not really losing their shoes to open the FXPB accounts. The reason being is that there's little value provided to them by FXPB compared to the resources that it would take to set that up, and it's pretty capital intensive exercise. They go to secondary market, to prime of prime, or even another retail brokerage. They can make better use of their capital. And also, gotta remember that when you do have an FXPB account, you need to send some flow. I think my latest assessment, average retail broker only sends 10% of their flow to the street. Also they have minimums to meet at FXPBs, so you can see how it might not be the best option to go for if you are in the retail brokerage space.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. We've seen it happen in places like Cyprus, where there's 154 retail brokers.
Right.
A lot of them are based on affiliate marketing model rather than any actual electronic financial trading model. And a lot of them will take a price feed from a real prime of prime, which is not a good business for anybody. Right. Because then what you have is internalized trades on a dealing desk somewhere in Cyprus with no one really accountable. Prices that are, and the price feed is being followed from a prime which is not producing any volume for the actual real life market.
Right.
It's problematic.
Well, I guess, it's problematic for people who are pricing them. I guess the broker
right.
just make their choices based on their business objectives. Of course, they can make much more money by doing market making. I think there's fundamentally nothing wrong with being a market
Nor do
maker
I,
as
if
long
they're
as
following the right price.
you follow the right price and you do provide fair execution to your customer and you have a balance sheet to support the P&L swings. There's nothing wrong with running the order warehousing model.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's true. And I think there's a lot of awareness that needs to come about for some of the smaller to medium-sized retail brokers of how prime of prime can actually help them maximise that order flow and order management system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best use for that is, they do have an institutional client base, that or more professional client base that is looking for real DMA access. That's where you utilize the prime of prime and you send the orders off to the street.
Exactly. Very interesting indeed. Nice to see you, Natalia.
Likewise, thank you.
All the best.